Okay, we have our opening SEC game, and of course the Florida Gators come in here and coached by Mike White, very hard-nosed, athletic team, great perimeter players, very athletic team, and so it's going to be another opportunity for us to go out and continue to get better. But we had a good win at A&M, but that one's over with, and now you go to the next game, and it's a race. We call it, everyone start off 0-0, and we've got the first game out of the way. Now we go play against a Florida team that's really balanced scoring. Has played a tremendous schedule and had a tough loss against South Carolina. And of course, coming in here, you got a young man that played in the state of Arkansas, Kayvon. He had a big game here last time they played here, so it's I'm sure he's looking forward to the homecoming. But they got more than just Kayvon. Obviously, Jalen Hudson. We've seen what he's capable of doing. We played these guys. I guess the last time we played them was in the SEC tournament, and we were fortunate to win there. So, but that has nothing to do with this year's team. We're different. They're different. Should be a great atmosphere. Looking forward to an opportunity for our guys to go out and continue to get better. I think that's going to be the big key. Our bench play is really starting to show itself, and I think that's going to be the strength of this basketball team. But the guys that start out got to come out and get off to a good start, and I thought that was one of the things that took place at A&M, and so we got to do the same thing here. Defense has got to be engaged. Got a lot of shooters. Lock kid is a knockdown shooter, and we know Jalen can shoot it, and Kayvon can score. Stone has had some pretty good games against us. And they do a really good job offensively of spreading you and attacking you. And we've got to keep them off the board. They're very athletic teams. So, again, it should be a great atmosphere in Bud Walton Arena. Looking forward to our fans really coming in and helping us start off the SEC at home in a good fashion.
Yeah, Mike, SEC teams went 3-2 on the road on Saturday. Kind of what does that tell you about the league? And one of the teams that went on the road won Kentucky. What do you think that says about the league, and what does that say about you guys got a great win on the road, but now, you got to protect your home court?
Well, every night it's going to be a war. Every game is tough. Teams are good, whether they play at home or on the road. So you better be playing some of you better be able to protect the home court. I think that's the biggest key. You got to protect the home court. But we knew, coming from last year into this year, with so many teams that are bringing back really good players, and you look at a team like Ole Miss, they have some good players coming back, and Kermit's doing a really good job over there. But every night, it's going to be a war. So the balance, I think when you talk about the competition in our league, it's really good.
You had all last week really to get really the rebounding emphasis against A&M. Kind of, is that something you think y'all can continue to emphasize with that same urgency?
Hey, we emphasize it. Trust me, we do emphasize it. Okay, it ain't like we just did it last week, but I think it's something that we really made sure our guys understood the sense of urgency when you get to conference play. There are going to be a lot of missed shots because teams are so familiar with it. Defenses are going to be better, but the ending part of defense is really getting in there and putting bodies on people. The other night, our guards did a good job of coming in and rebounding. But if you look at Daniel, he had 11. I think Adriel had 5 or 6. Gabe had 7. Then you get those guards chiming in at 4 and 5 apiece. And the thing I was really impressed with is I think it's team rebounds. We had 8. They had 2. Those are those long rebounds that we've been missing out on that people get and get second chance points on us. So we got to limit that. That's again, when you talk about playing defense, you got to finish it off with the rebounding.
Mike, Gabe almost led you in charges taken last year and not a lot of minutes, and this year he's leading in limited minutes. What is it about Gabe? What does he do to get all those charges?
Well, he's in help side position. I think he can see and read. Our defense is geared to speeding people up. I think his instincts put him in position, seeing guys come out of control and just being at the right place at the right time. I think his instincts are pretty good on help side defense.
Tom, did you have? Tom, are you ready?
Yeah. Hey, Mike, there was a call the other night. They called Desi Seals for a ball. I've never seen one like that. Had you, and is that like a new emphasis? The TV announcers seem to think it was a proper call.
What was?
What I'm talking about, he slowed up, Gaffer done. He slowed up, and a guy ran into him.
Yeah, it's a judgment call. I think it's a judgment call. That's all. I mean, I thought he kind of went in the path of the guy. Now, did he stop? You know, that's up to that official. He probably thought he stopped and intrude the guy's, you know, path going towards Daniel. But you know, it's. I think it was a judgment call, and they made the call they thought they deemed was the right call. And I'm sure some flopping involved in it too. I mean, if you go to the flop part of it, I mean, that's.
Hey, Mike, you talked about defensive rebounding, but offensively turning that into second chance points. You won in that category against Texas A&M. How does that continue against Florida, and how critical was that against the Aggies?
Well, we talked about emphasizing that as well. You know, when you look at the shooting percentages, we're not lighting it up, and we didn't show light it up at A&M. And so the only way you're going to get a chance to get rebounds, you got to put yourself in position. And so I'm looking at guys like Adriel getting his body in there. Gabe had some nice stickbacks where he tipped it in and got a big rebound going down the stretch. But if your body's never in there, you're never going to come up with it. And we got some guys that are some capable shooters. But, you know, a good rebounder, you think all shots are missed. So it puts you in position to rebound. And let's say if we are pressing, you're already in a position to do that. So just trying to make sure our guys understand. We got to have guys going to the glass and try to make people pay offensively as well.
Mike, I know that you and a lot of other teams keep track of guys taking charges, but it's not like a stat in the box score and the NCAA stats. As a coach, it's kind of a hidden stat. How important is it to do, you know, the guys do that? And where does Gabe rank with guys you've played with or coached with or whatever in terms of being able to do that?
I think Gabe coming in, I think he's got a great feel for, you know, being in the right place, trying to take charge. He actually tried to take 4 the other night. I think they gave him 2. But to me, I think it's one of the greatest plays in basketball from the standpoint of defense, because you always talk about protecting the rim, whether it be block shots or, you know, your gap defense where guys get in position. A lot of people call it the secondary defender, you know, because a lot of guys get out of control. But it puts a personal foul, team foul. It's a turnover, and it gives you the opportunity to get the basketball. And just think if you get a couple on one of the key guys, which is a point guard, that adds up. That's a big play. It's one of the few plays in basketball that all those things take place. And I think, you know, for us, it's real important, because if we're extending the floor, trying to get people out of control, putting the ball in bad ballers' hand, getting the guards out of control where they think they got something there, but all of a sudden it closes in. I think I put a lot of value in it.
Giving up your body, I mean,
sacrificing.
Yeah,
it's sacrificing.
It's got to hurt. You know, you're going.
It's the kamikaze effect. I mean, you sacrifice it for the team, and I love guys who do that. I was one of those guys when I played. I used to take charges. I like to win, and so when you get a lot of those guys, man, I tell you what, it makes people a little leery about attacking and being out of control.
How much patience you had to have, like with Jalen with the three-point shooting, you were struggling, or even the other day when Mason, you know, missed his first 7 and then got on.
It's not necessarily patience, because I see what these guys do in practice. Take good shots. I always say take good shots, you know, and if you're not making them, obviously you can do some other things, and until you can get it going. So it was, I mean, if you look at that game, Isaiah, Mason, Jalen, all those guys had some great open look shots. Desi, he knocked his down, even Keyshawn. And so, but you got to have the confidence to keep shooting it. And of course, if you keep missing, then obviously we got to do some other things, you know, like get the ball inside or get to the free throw line. But no, I got confidence in those guys, because I see them in practice every day. I see those guys putting time in with their game. I mean, they put a lot of time in on the game. So, but it was good to see. That was their first conference game on the road. I mean, again, the senses of urgency. You can understand the nervousness that some of them had. So maybe those misses was a way of getting it out of their system, and hopefully we'll see more shots go in.
Is Mike, going back through your coaching career, do you have a comparison, I guess, for Jalen in terms of his speed and I guess the way he takes care of the ball? I know you mentioned, I think, Kareem Reed during the summer.
Kareem comes to mind. I think Kareem. If you think about Jabril and I think his last year he was really good with the basketball. Had a kid, Sweeky Johnson. He was really good with the basketball. Lee Mayberry. I mean, Lee Mayberry went, 10, 12 games where he didn't have a turnover. So that tells you they take pride in valuing the basketball and getting other guys involved.
I guess this new point guard Nemhard. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. Number 2. What do you think of him?
Really good player. Really good player. He's a big guard, as a matter of fact. And obviously they've had Chioza in there for so long, and now you got a big guard that can score and distribute the basketball. He's really crafty with the basketball, and he gets those other guys involved. Good player. I mean, he's already got 76 assists on the year. I think his stats are like 3-1. His assist to turnover is 3-1, and I'm sure they're important to him, important to their basketball team.
And you guys had a great one over Florida and St. Louis last year, but they've dominated the series in recent years. Well, really going back quite a few years. What is that? Just because Florida's been so good, or what do you think's happened? And I know you guys have gotten some tough calls at times too at the end, but what do you think about the Florida series? Why have they dominated like they have?
They just won a game. That's all, Bob. That's all. I mean, it's we won some, they've won some, and but I think this game has nothing to do with what took place last year. So why? I mean, they won national championships, and so they've had some good players there. But in terms of the series, I don't know what happened when I wasn't here. But since I've been here, obviously, as we were building and getting our players in here, I think the games we played them have been right there. They came in and stole one a couple of years ago. And one time I think we had overtime games. So it's been some great games. I think that, to me, is what stands out in my mind. There have been some great games, and we've come on the short end on some of those. But at the end, but at the same time, I think our program is a very good program, and theirs a very good program.
Atlanta's got a really bad call down there. Whatever year that was.
I'm glad you pointed that out. See, Bob, you know the obvious. I don't even have to point it out. You already know it. All right, thank you, guys.
I think as I recall, you said some stuff about the ref after the game.